Welcome back, fellas, into this new video to Express. Today, let's talk a little bit more about how to make a table of contents directly here into Word. Let's assume, for example, that here we have this specific, for example, element. What I need to do, of course, is to get it started. For example, let's say dark fantasy, and I go and use this as my header, right? So what I wanted to do is to put this into the center like this. There we go. So you have my title, and here is the actual description. So what I wanted to do is to, let's say, add my table of content. Now, to add the table of content, usually what I do, the first thing to do is to apply heading styles. So if you navigate directly into the home tab and look for the style grouped, like the introduction, the chapter 1, click into the header element, and you can see, for example, that here, for example, if I select my title, it says heading number 2. I'm going to be changing this for heading number 1, and I'm going to be aligning this into the center. Now, when it says table of content, once again, let's go for heading number 2, centered it, and let's start with all the titles of the subtitle or the actual subtitles that we have generated so far. For example, what is dark fantasy? This is an actual second header, so header number 2. You can apply or update it to match the section. It can manage the default styles of all your header. For example, reset the document word to default style, or let's say, for example, that I select what is dark fantasy, right? Then I wanted to change the font color for something black, and the font name I wanted to change for something a little bit more different. For example, this one. Now, I'm using an actual free version, so you want to be making sure that you're going to be using the free fonts that are appearing directly in here. So let's say that I look out for this one. There we go. And when you finish with this specific element, the next thing to do, of course, is to, let's say, select the heading number 2 and update to match a section. This will be changing all my new files. Now, what is dark fantasy? And the key characteristics are both header number 2. So make sure that all the things that you wanted to be applied into your table of content are appearing as header number 2s. Dark fantasy, these are the file types, are header number 2, one sentence definition. The last thing, of course, to do is to focusing now into a major subheading like market analysis, and click the heading number 2 styles. So usually this will be intended into your TOC. Now you can go deeper. For example, you can select a matter subheading like the key competitor data of here. For example, why is it dark fantasy so popular? And I can be selecting this and changing for the header number 3, for example. And this should be, once again, header number 3, right? And my other text will be normal. Everything will be applied in normal. When you finish with all of these settings, you wanted to take a moment to go through your entire document, applying heading 1 to all the chapters, heading 2 to all the sections, heading 3 to any minor subsections, and normal text with all the things, which is the only information, right? Now, we can generate a table of content. Now that you have structured this set, you go to the very beginning of your document and insert a blank page. Usually, as you see here, what I just did is to just type here my title. I go for Control Enter, which is adding an actual space divider. Here's my element of the table of content, and usually just below the table of content, which is like here, click the table of contents button, which usually should be appearing directly into the insert. And click the reference tab into the main ribbon. Usually it should be appearing here in my table of contents. So when I click table of contents, usually automatically all the information should be applied in here. So when I click this element, for example, something else that I can do is to put this, let's say, for example, to give a little bit more space like this. I select, for example, all my information. And something else that I can do is to change, for example, the formatting of all of those. Let's say, for example, what is dark fantasy, key characteristics, origins, famous examples. So for example, here, I have the famous examples. Literature, I changed the heading number 3 for heading number 4, for example. What I can do is to go for update, and my information will be updated. In one click, your perfect formatted has now been corrected. So if you edit the document, just go and update, and automatically will be updated right away. Because you now know how to key to perfect document organization, you remember the 3 steps. You apply the header, you insert the table of contents, and you're actually good to go. So guys, with this being said, we come over to the very end of the video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel to see more great tools how you can get started with these elements of the separate pages. So you can let me know in the comments below what you think about these great elements. If you have any questions, you can let me know once again, even into the comments. Thank you once again, guys, and hopefully we're going to see you next time.